Hello, you are listening to On the Topic podcast, and this week I've got a beer in my hand. I'm Dan.
And I've got a glass of the golden, beautiful, tasty stuff. I'm Alex, and we've got a bit of background noise, no buzzing this time.
Yes, we're in a pub.
We are
face to face.
In a pub, looking out the window, very romantically over the sea, the Solent.
Got Spinnaker Tower to my left.
It's a beautiful sight.
Bit of Gosport.
I can't remember the last time I went to the pub, Dan.
It's been a while. Last time we did the pub together probably would have been last year's AMA.
It was?
For our third birthday. Well, this is our fourth birthday. I can't believe we've been going this long.
I know. We haven't been kicked off and made complaints about so far.
No.
But before we get into that, Dan, what have you been up to?
Well, I'm on annual leave. Haven't been up to a great deal, but I've watched a couple of films. Sonic 2.
Oh, right, any good?
Yes.
Idris Elba does Knuckles, right?
He does, yeah. Very good film. Lots of Easter eggs to the computer games, which is fantastic. I give it a solid 9 out of 10. I can't enjoy it that much.
So I couldn't get through the first one. I thought it was a bit slow.
Yeah, this one's better.
Okay.
100%. What else have I watched?
Have you seen the trailer? Just sorry, very quickly. Have you seen the trailer for the new game? The open world Sonic game?
It's very... can't put my finger on what it looks like.
Breath of the Wild, maybe?
Yeah, a little bit like that.
Yeah.
Bit of a Zelda game. Looks quite decent.
I like the idea, but apparently fans have petitioned to have the release date pushed back because they reckon it looks a bit flat. I don't know how you can find that from what's effectively 30 seconds worth of teaser trailer.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Anyway, yeah, it looks good.
What else have I watched? Secrets of Dumbledore.
Oh, I thought we both had a pact we wouldn't give any more money to her. Or maybe you didn't. Perhaps we don't talk about that.
No, I think I've broken the pact. However, still not great. But it almost salvages the car crash of the second one.
Does it, not going into details, because at some point I probably will watch it now that you've broken our pact.
I need your thoughts.
Yeah, but does it explain away the random Ezra Miller's character? And he's like a long distant cousin or some description of Dumbledore or something. Some shit.
Not
nephew,
really.
Second, twice removed.
There's still plot holes. It's not fantastic. No. This is just again another money maker and an unnecessary Harry Potter film. To be honest.
But Jude Law,
very good. Couldn't quite tell what his accent was though. I mean, he tries to do the whole like older Dumbledore accent. Doesn't quite come out. It's pretty shoddy.
Alright.
What else? I've been watching Obi-Wan on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
So good. Fantastic.
But have you seen though, and this is at the time of recording, is the 4th episode out now?
Yeah, or it's coming out this week. It'll be tomorrow.
Okay. Episode 3 though, you know where about halfway through and he has a shootout in the desert and there's a laser grid and he shoots laser grid.
Yes.
Could he not have just climbed over the edge?
Yeah, you could.
Laser grid doesn't go all the way up. He could have even climbed the mountain and it's just seems a little bit overkill just to get to a checkpoint. But anyway, I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and the whole Vader thing. I don't want to add any spoilers in here. We won't talk about too much, Dan.
Yeah.
But the whole Vader scene.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Isn't it?
So good.
They've really got the essence of Vader and just how freaking scary he is. I loved it. Very good.
It's quite fascinating how it's almost like Obi-Wan suffering from PTSD.
Yes.
Like he's sort of almost depressed as well. Like he's not even pulled his lightsaber out until the fight with Darth, unless reluctantly.
Until he has to. And that's obviously the weight of what he sees as a failure of his part to train young Anakin. It's brilliant. It's a work of genius. It's my favourite so far.
Other than that, that's really it. I'm going to go pet some alpacas in Emsworth tomorrow with my other half. So I'm looking forward to that.
Lovely.
Probably going to get spat at by one of them. Who knows? We'll see. I'll keep you posted on the next episode.
Okay.
What have you been up to, Alex? What's going on in your world?
What's going on? I've been watching Stranger Things season 4.
Of course. Aren't like some of the episodes like an hour and a half?
Yeah. I'm on episode 3 at about an hour and 10, hour and 15 clocking in so far.
Yep.
Do you watch Stranger Things? I can't remember. You don't, do you?
No, I couldn't really get into it, and I know I need to try and give it an attempt because a lot of people are sort of giving me a bollocking for it now. Season
1's a bit slow, but it gets kind of the vibe and the backstory. It's not aimed for backstory, kind of. You know how a lot of these films and TV shows, the whole purpose is backstory.
Yeah.
You know, look at the Eternals, look at the film, look at a lot of other Netflix shows, they're built, or they're made, or they're written, should I say, for subsequent series.
Yeah.
This wasn't. The Duffer Brothers, who wrote it, they always did series 1 as a standalone, and then they then got the rights then because of the fandom for season 2, season 3, etc. It's all brilliant. The season 4 is fantastic. So I'm thoroughly enjoying that. What else? I'm playing Sniper Elite.
Okay.
5.
Nice.
That's very good. Shooting the bollocks off Nazis is always fun, literally. So I'm having a lot of fun doing that. And come back from holiday, Dan. So shout out to our Spanish listeners. I know they're out there. We see it from the data. So hola and gracias, because they were very welcoming. They were very welcoming to my little boy. Not the listeners mind, I'm sure they were there, but no, the fine people of Madrid have some lovely sangria, some lovely tapas, lovely sunshine, Dan. So yeah, fully refreshed and raring to go for this episode.
Happy days.
So this week, yes. First of all, Dan, happy birthday. Let's do
and happy birthday.
Let's do a chink. Okay, that's.
Tell our listeners what are you drinking?
I've got an Estrella Dan.
Nice.
Spanish
beer.
I didn't have any Estrella though in Madrid. Don't know why. Probably a misstep on my part. But anyway, I'm having it now, and it's a lovely lager. What are you having?
I've got Beavertail's Neck Oil. Nice little
Premium
testable IPA, bit fruity, lovely.
Quite a high percentage though, isn't it?
Only 4.3.
Oh, is it? I thought it was higher than that.
Nope, quite a low one.
Lovely job.
I mean, you guys know what I'm like after having a bit of red wine.
You're off.
I'm off.
Off your head.
Spelling. What are you doing about? Pronouncing names. See, I've already started.
You have. You're starting fights and you're doing all sorts. So yeah, best keep on the old beers for the minute.
I'm just going to go roundhouse someone out on Spice Island in a minute. There's loads of little kids out there. I mean, I don't know.
Pick on the Cubs. I mean, just paint the scene, guys. Look out the window. The Isle of Wight ferry. And if you don't know what that is, Google it. There's too much to explain in that sentence. But the Isle of Wight ferry is going past, a big old thing, the new one. We've got some kids jumping around from the Cub-Scouts, look of it, near the water. It's a lovely scene.
It's going to get rowdy. I'm going to go, start a fight with them. They'll probably kill me, to be honest.
Well, yes.
I mean, they are like Cubs. They probably know how to make weapons and stuff.
Well, the whole craft is to learn how to tie knots and stuff. So they'll probably tie you up and beat you to a pulp.
And turn a lollipop or a lollipop stick into, a shiv.
Yeah, I mean, I won't help you. If you pick a fight with them, you're on your own. But anyway, less about picking fights and more about the episode. So we, over the last couple of weeks or so, whilst we've been on annual leave and holidays and such, I've reached out to our listeners. And again, in fine fashion, you guys have not disappointed. You have delivered. We have quite a few questions in this week.
We do. So every year we do an AMA. So the first couple of years of doing the podcast, we just sort of strictly stuck to pop culture.
Yep.
Last year we just opened it up, and we've done the same again this year. And so thank you to everyone that's written in.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Let's kick things off. First up, we've got Luke. He says,
shout to Luke.
What is your favourite ever video game storyline, and why is it Red Dead Redemption 2? Do you know what? Before I sort of answer this question, I do like how some of these questions sort of tie into previous episodes. So
right, yeah.
People do listen to episodes.
Yeah.
We talked about some of our favourite video games recently, and to answer Luke's question, I've not played Red Dead 2 yet.
Damn.
I know. I just don't have the time nor money. The cost of living going up. I pay more in rent than I do anything else. In fact, I probably pay more for cat food than I do my own food.
You have to get rid of that, Dan, don't you?
Yeah.
Get rid of the cat.
But to answer Luke's question, it's probably Final Fantasy VII. As I've mentioned before, fantastic open world game. It's the first time I've experienced loss in a computer game. Great storytelling, and once you sort of get out onto the open world, it's a bit mental.
Yeah.
What's yours, Alex?
I am a fan of the Red Dead games. I thought though Red Dead 1 for me, although 2 is more richer and in depth, Red Dead Redemption 1 was I think it had a better storyline because actually you got more. For me, I bought in more into John Marston as a character. and the way it ends in the shootout of the barn, and then afterwards, which is I'm not spoiling for you, Dan. Hopefully it's like a 12, 15-year-old game, but at the end it's almost like an extended game kind of Easter egg. So the game finishes, the protagonist is dead, he gets shot by bounty hunters, but at the end, if you wait for past trailers, you can then play as his son, as he's older, and the game almost continues. And it's a nice little nod to the fact the story continues through generations. And I think the first one, I was more bought into John. So for that reason, actually, I don't disagree with Luke in terms of the series, but the one for me gets it. I don't think I shed a tear, but I felt, same as you, I felt some loss. Yeah, that really got me in the feels.
Good question. Next up, we've got Dave. Who is your favourite Marvel character? He's mulling this one over, ladies and gents.
Any immediately come to mind for you, Dan?
Spider-Man. Or
really?
Peter Parker. More Peter Parker. I'll tell you why.
Are we talking about MCU or just comics?
It's very vague, the question, so let's just
split
go
it
in
out.
general.
No, let's split it out. Come on, let's tease this question out.
Let's go for comics.
MCU and then comics, or comics and MCU.
Let's go for comics.
Go on.
In fact, I'm going to do MCU as well. It's always going to be Peter
Always
Parker.
Spider-Man. Okay.
And I'll tell you why. And I've said this before in previous episodes. It's the struggle of Peter Parker. He's I suppose you can relate to him. He's always got money problems. He's got life problems. You probably feel more of his loss than, say, you do any other superheroes. It's more personable. And the struggle of being a superhero. So for me, it's just a bit more of a human element to Peter Parker than, say, Wolverine.
Fair, because actually most of the superheroes either cash in or they somehow get funded, don't they?
Yeah.
Which is very odd, because the X-Men don't really explain how they get money.
No.
Because they're part of the Institute for Gifted People, whatever it's called, by Xavier, but I don't know how they get their income.
Don't get me wrong, Wolverine does have quite a harrowing background. However,
unless you're going to be genetically modified in a lab, I don't think that's really going to...
Yeah, and you've served hundreds of years fighting in different wars and stuff.
Yeah.
There's just no relatability there to our Logan.
So what about then MCU? Or do you say it's the same, is it?
I'd probably say Peter Parker, but if you want
to...
If we're strictly moving away from comics, then maybe Captain America.
Oh, really?
Man out of time.
Chris Evans.
You do feel his struggles in the films. I think we talked about this in our Endgame review.
Yes.
You see that character development. You see him with the Stars and Stripes, and he loses the Stars and Stripes because he loses sort of faith in fighting for his country because of the Civil War, and then sort of has that redemption arc. Wields Mjolnir, he's worthy, starts kicking Thanos' ass.
It's beautiful.
It's a great scene. And throwing lightning at him, he is throwing it down.
Yeah, brings the thunder.
Do you love a bit of Steve Rogers? Good character.
Love a bit of Chris Evans. Brilliant.
Film coming out on Netflix with Chris Evans in it.
Yes, he's the baddie, isn't he?
Looks quite wicked in the moustache.
He does. He plays a fantastic role in the, I think, rather underrated Knives Out.
Yes, again, villain.
I'm not sure I'm supposed to say that.
Not a villain?
Kind of gives it away, doesn't it? Oh well.
But if you haven't seen Knives Out, where have you been?
Exactly. It's your own fault.
I've had some beers now. There's no time to put a spoiler alert.
Yeah, there's no chance, guys. Look,
Phil was gone.
I was going to say the gloves are off, the safety's off. We're shooting from the hip. For me, Dan, I think for comics it's got to be Iron Fist. The Iron Fist comics. It wasn't Dan Slott. I can't remember who did it. I'll find out by the end of this. Brilliant. It's a brilliant run, and I loved it. It was fantastic. Dan's just googling now, actually. Who have we got here?
You got Gil Kane, Roy Thomas.
Yeah, rings a bell. Not the TV show. TV show's gash, but the actual comics themselves. Lovely pencil work. Talks about the Danny Rand legacy and how his grandfather was the Iron Fist, his father was the Iron Fist. He didn't really know his father. I mean, the MCU always have issues with family, right? And Danny's no different, but he's almost like a street level Tony. So he's a multi-millionaire, comes from a background, comes from a mystical land, is a protector, goes to New York, almost like a daredevil. He always crosses paths with Daredevil because he's a brawler, a street brawler, just with magic fists. But the storylines are so good. It's a bit mystical, talks about the cities of heaven, but you cross paths with Daredevil, with Elektra, sometimes with Wolverine, with the Hand. Lovely stuff. So yeah, for me, Iron Fist. And then for the MCU, it's got to be, this might be a bit of a curveball, but one of the most enjoyable films I've seen, Dan, and we probably need to revisit top 10 now, is Ant-Man.
Good shout.
Because it's so different, isn't it? It's so different, and Paul Rudd is phenomenal. Evangeline Lilly's great. I second's not too bad. I think it tries harder than it should do, but the first one was brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, Yellow Jacket was such a great baddie. The whole scene, the iconic scene with the suitcase and they're bouncing around and the phone goes off with the music and it adds to the tempo of the action scene. It's quality.
Great how they amplified the music from the iPhone. And that's phenomenal.
It was brilliant. A bit of shameless advertising there, but I loved it. So for me, Ant-Man.
Yeah.
MCU, phenomenal, because he just brings so much to it. So yeah, great question from Dan there, was it?
That was Dave.
Well done, Dave.
Next up we've got Multiverse Dan. I think he sent in quite a few questions for this. He asks, excluding your own, what is your favourite podcast?
This is easy. Abroad in Japan.
Yes, you've told me about this. This is one that's sort of come up from time to time.
Yeah.
This was one of your recommendations for our quarantine episode back in 2020.
It still is. It's still going. So this is a spin-off of still the same guys, but it's a spin-off of the YouTuber, which is Abroad in Japan. It's all about a guy our age, Dan, so early to mid-30s, just being generous, and he's been living in Japan for the last 8 years. He went over there to do a teaching course, a Brit abroad, teaching Japanese kids how to speak English. Didn't like it after 3 years. Went to YouTubing, and he basically just talks about cultural differences, things to do, things to see in Japan as a YouTube. He's been doing that now for the last 5 years, or YouTube channel, should I say. He's doing the YouTube now.
Nice.
Doing YouTube, and he now does a podcast twice a week, and I want to go to Japan, and it's just really good listening.
I'd love to go to Japan.
Yeah. 100%.
Tokyo is on our list, so my other half is running the majors. So she's already done London, Berlin, New York, Chicago. She's got Tokyo and Boston left.
Alright.
So Tokyo's on the list. We just don't know when at the moment. I don't think they're letting any tourists
They're
in.
not. No, they're trialling. I know it's because of the website, because of the podcast. They're trialling something like 200,000 tourists a week, I think, compared to 20,000, which is nothing. Depending on obviously what happens with monkeypox.
Oh boy.
And
I've already had chickenpox and the Rona this year. I really don't want the monkeypox.
I'm doing an official review of Dan, and he's pockless at the minute, so I'm quite happy to be in his company. But never say never. He may be hiding underneath that lovely T-shirt of his. But either way, yes. I mean, depending on what happens with that, they may decide to keep the quarantine in. But yeah, they're hopefully opening up soon. So hopefully you guys can go out and start.
Fingers crossed.
What are you done?
I've got 2 podcasts that I go to. So I've got the official Marvel podcast, which I like to listen to every week.
Yeah.
This Week in Marvel. So I like to get the lowdown of what's going on from comics, books, games, TV, films. So you get all the background of that. You get interviews with some of the stars, writers, etc. One of my favourite listens. So if you're a Marvel fan, I highly recommend that you listen to that. And a local podcast, Alex.
Yeah.
3 Lads in a Pub.
Oh yeah.
And you're probably thinking, well, Dan, what can 3 lads in a pub talk about? Well, background of the story is my friend Ryan is one of the co-hosts, along with Liam and Jeff, and they talk about Pompey. So Portsmouth Football Club. It's nice to listen to their 1 hour, 1.5 hour episodes after a game. It's nicer than doom scrolling. It's a bit more. I don't want to say critical.
Balanced.
Yeah, it's very, very, very well balanced. It's not miserable. If they got something negative to say, they'll always back up with why they think that's a negative point. So It's quite enjoyable. They always record in the pub.
Which is true to form and their title. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes you hear the hand dry go off there at the Rutland, which is just around the corner from me. So, yeah, fantastic
Authentic sounds.
What's that, sorry?
Authentic sounds.
Yes.
Lovely.
Completely authentic. Sometimes you get the crazies on the karaoke, depending on what pub they're in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, good background noise.
Good.
Much like what you're getting with us right now.
Yeah, well, hopefully there's no buzzing. That was what was last year, so we had to then pause the episode to continue online, didn't we?
Yes.
But, Rona's so 2020. It's not a problem now, is it?
No.
No face masks, no buzzing. We can do whatever we want.
Exactly. I feel a bit more blasé now I've had it.
False sense of security, perhaps. But yeah.
I caught it just after I went to Ireland in, I want to say it was April. It was April, yeah.
Well, there's people you're kissing.
Wore a mask all the time when I was over there. Wore a mask on the flight home. And still got it.
There you go.
So, it happens.
Okay.
Not being a conspiracy theorist, and I suppose now I've had it, I'm a bit more comfortable just going out in the world.
Licking all those door handles?
Oh, absolutely.
Why not?
If you're not licking door handles, what are you
doing? Normal service resumes.
We've got a couple of questions now from Kelly.
Yes.
Serious one. Your podcast has faced lots of challenges through the pandemic, yet you guys keep going strong. How is it now that things are finally becoming more quote-unquote normal? Again, any exciting plans that may have been hindered previously that are more likely to become a reality now? I mean, nothing's sort of really changed for us. It's nice to have that flexibility that we can both record from home. We are busy in our lives. You've got a son to look after.
He looks after himself, doesn't he? 4 years old, he can get food from the cupboard, turn on Netflix. I can leave him for hours at a time.
Does he make toast?
He knows how to use it.
Does he make you a cup of tea in the mornings?
He doesn't quite, no.
Oh.
We haven't quite progressed to boiling water yet. But, toasters in the bar. I joke, guys, look, don't call social services on me, I joke.
He's a good father, I promise.
Well, maybe. But no, it's... You know what? Things have been busier, I think, for me and for a lot of working people. I think it's the same for you, Dan. Working from home, actually, don't have natural breaks, don't have natural interruptions. Everyone's working at 120%. And that then becomes a new norm. So I think, in actual fact, Kelly, I think it's been busier.
Yeah, it really
due
has.
to lockdown.
I don't think we've quite done as many episodes as we would have done sort of through the pandemic.
No.
I think 2020 we were trying to find our feet, and actually we got the quality towards the end of the year. And then 2021
got our stride.
We got our stride. Would be nice to get more guests if they would check their emails and get back to us.
Nudge, wink, wink. But I don't think anything's been hindered anymore.
No.
Because I think everyone. Some things are quite remote. You can't invite people to, or you wouldn't want to invite people to your home to interview them.
No.
And actually, people are now more comfortable with, conference calls. So actually, it's a really good question. I don't think there's anything that we haven't been able to do that we would want to. I think it's just more the same. I think hopefully trying to get, for me, let's get quite deep now, a bit of work-life balance at work. Perhaps will give me that flexibility. That's only been the problem, really, just work.
It can be quite wild at work, and sort of through the pandemic, it obviously sort of quietened down a bit. And as soon as everything starts to open up again, you sort of feel that impact. It just sort of bottlenecks every now and again. So it can get quite crazy. So if you've had a bit of a stressful day, it's easy to still have a quick wind down, and then just jump on the Zoom call and record the pod.
That's it.
We will get back to doing face-to-face at some point, I guess.
We're doing it now.
Oh yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
So it's happening. It is happening. She also asked, I hope you've seen it, Alex,
Uh-huh.
thoughts on Patterson as Batman. As a huge Batman fan, it hurts me to have to say I thought the film was absolute dog shite.
Oh, wow.
And I just couldn't warm to him at all. Have you seen the Batman yet?
I've nearly finished it.
Yeah.
I was surprised. From a positive perspective, I didn't like the idea of Pattinson being, because he does Moody quite well, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
But if you take the film And look, we always respect people's opinions here on the topic. So fair play, Kelly. That's a really good perspective and a fair opinion. I was one around only because the overall tone is darker and is moodier. Actually, he's quite expressive as a character. He doesn't say an awful lot in any of his films, really. And I think as a Batman, kind of works. Batman doesn't really talk.
Yeah.
He grunts. He looks moody. Very stiff. Very calculated moves. And I think Patterson does that. So I think he delivers unexpectedly. I wouldn't say I love it.
Yeah.
But I think it was good. He's no Michael. Whatchamacallit, the original Batman.
Oh yeah, I know.
Keaton. He's no Vulture from the MCU, but he does a good job.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. Film overall, I think it's quite long for 3 hours. I think some bits
You're
were
right, it is
unnecessary.
a bit slow. Yeah.
But I mean, if I was going to rate it, I mean, it's obviously going to be better than Fantastic Beasts 3.
Get in the sea.
I can get in the bin. I'd probably give it a 7.
I was going to say 7 for what I've seen so far. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I'm sort of looking forward to seeing what they do with the second film up with Patterson as Batman.
Well, they're talking about bringing Cavill back for Superman.
Really?
And they were saying they're going to bin off that whole continuity. But I mean, with Aquaman 2 and the whole, I think there's a question here on Amber Heard's shortly, debacle. I mean, no, that's still continuing. He's still a character of the original Justice League. You've got Ezra Miller, who may or may not be seen as a Flash because he's punching people left, right and centre. I mean, have you heard about this?
Yeah, I've heard about this.
He's knocked out or been in fights and picking fights with fans. I mean, you hear what's on the news and on the websites, right? So there's sides to every story. But you can't condone violence, right? You can't be knocking people out. And it's been done, I think, twice in Hawaii now. So, not good. So whether or not we remain to be seen, Warner's actually keep with Ezra, we'll see. But maybe that version of, I mean, look at Wonder Woman as well.
Yeah.
So actually, it's only going to be Ben Affleck. Actually, I thought it was all right as.
I quite liked him.
I thought it was okay. I think he started to play. I think I mentioned in the last episode. I did actually Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
Batman Arkham Knight, and I'm using the skin of
Nice.
Ben Affleck's, and it just works. It looks great, and it plays great, and it's wonderful. So actually, I like Affleck.
Yeah.
He got a lot of stick for it, and I know you didn't enjoy it, but maybe there's still legs in that DCU.
I think they're going to reboot it, but I think we'll probably come more to that because I think we've got a question from Chris later on.
All right.
Next up we got Luke. Favourite Mariah Carey song? He's put a little laughing, sweaty emoji. Oh, do you know what? I'm going to go all in. All I Want for Christmas Is You.
You had to Google that.
I did. I'll tell you why. It's a staple of any Christmas CD in a supermarket. It used to do my fucking head.
I was going to say, working in retail, surely you'd hit it from October.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I do kind of miss the Christmas music. You don't get that in the office when you're working for the man.
No.
But equally, I don't because, I mean, I've listened to the same CD for the entire day on loop. It's quite painful.
Yeah.
But do you know what? Yeah, I'm just going to throw that in there. The Christmas song by Mariah Carey. All of Christmas is You.
I mean, my sister back in, now I'm going back, 96, 97, had her album.
Really?
And actually wasn't bad. From, what would I be now? 12 years old at the time? Yeah, 11, 12 years old. I can remember playing the disc. It was a disc, guys and girls, a CD on my Sega Saturn. Dan, do you remember the Sega Saturn?
I do remember. It was like the next model up from
Dreamcast.
The Mega Drive. Oh no, it was Dreamcast. Yeah.
The Dreamcast was out for like maybe a year. Then they released a Saturn. I think Saturn was supposed to be like the bee's knees, but actually the Dreamcast was still revered. Still is actually. It's like gold dust getting hands on them. Anyway, and I actually seem to recall the album wasn't too bad. I can't tell you what songs are, but I know I can't stand her Christmas song. It's a payday. Every time you hear it, it's a payday. She doesn't work probably a day in her life, bless her. She doesn't have to.
No.
It's a cracking song.
Just getting the royalties.
Ching! Every Christmas for 3 months she's made.
Yeah.
So not for me. But interesting question.
Next up we've got Chris. He says, who had the better beard, Thor or Captain America?
Well, as someone who sports a beard, Dan, it's only rather you go first.
Well, I mean, I'm not really that beardy. I've actually had a bit of a trim over the last couple of days.
You looked a bit streamlined than usual.
Yeah. I mean, what Thor beard are we going for here? We're going for the Viking beard in Endgame, which is absolutely
twizzled and
magnificent and luscious, or we're just going for the standard dyed gold beard that he had in the first film.
That's odd, that one, isn't it? You look back and go, he looks a bit ginger.
He does.
Nothing wrong with ginger, by the way. We love gingers.
I mean, Chris Evans with a beard in Infinity War is quite good.
I'm personally going to go for Cap. The only reason being is because it was such a contrast to what we saw in the previous films, right? So, when did we see him? In Civil War?
Yep.
Before then, Infinity? And obviously he's clean shaven and he's still, the stereotypical superhero, and then he doesn't look dishevelled, but he obviously he's on the run and he's sporting this dark beard. Very handsome chap, of course. Chris Evans is as well, and for me that was more telling of the character and actually looked good. So for me it's going to be Captain America.
If we're rolling out the magnificent Viking beard,
I mean, that would win over, right? Because it's all made up and it's plaited.
It's plaited everything. But if we're ruling that out,
let's rule it out.
I'm going with Cap. I'm going to go with that one.
Yeah, handsome bastard.
Next up, we've got 3 questions from Rob. First one: computer game related. See, I'm already mashing my words.
Slowing his words.
I'm only like over a half a pint through.
He's gone, guys.
Awful. Is it possible?
Eyes all over the place. Cross-eyed.
I'm going to open this question up a little bit further in a minute.
All right.
Is it possible to play Crash Bandicoot without shouting "Umbuga" numerous times? In fact, Alex, is it possible to play any of your favourite computer games without making a computer game noise?
No. We've
all been there, right?
Yeah, I think because of the nature of computer games, right, they're quite interactive and quite engrossing. So yeah, 100%. I mean, interesting enough, I haven't played Crash Bandicoot properly ever.
My brother loved it. So obviously growing up together, I mean, there's like 8 years between us. However, when he got to the age where he was old enough to jump on PlayStation, he and one of his friends got into Crash Bandicoot, so I watched him play all 3 of them.
Oh, right.
It was like, I mean, he'd watch me play my computer games, and I'd watch him. It's just one of those things, childhood memories.
There you go.
But is it possible to make any sort of noise playing your computer games? I'm going to say no. It's like playing Mario, any Mario game. Mario, number 1. Same with Mario Kart. That's a classic.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Making those sorts of noises.
Yeah, classic, absolute classics.
Crash Bandicoot. Do you ever play Crash Bandicoot?
No.
Oh man, you're missing out. Classic. No. Get it on the Xbox.
I don't think you can. I have got a PlayStation, so maybe I'll just get the backwards compatible job.
There you go.
There you go.
Next up, is Dr. Robotnik the Sonic Universe's token ginger?
I don't know how to answer this one, Dan. Yes.
Yes, because he's the only ginger I can recall in the Sonic universe. Talking of token gingers...
Hang on. What is Tails?
Oh. Nah, he's more ginger, right?
Got more ginger.
He's got more ginger.
But Robotnik is...
a human.
An orangey hair. So it depends on the shade of ginger. Is it strawberry blonde? Yeah. Or is it Ron Weasley ginger?
Good question.
Because you got a range there, haven't you? Really?
Yeah. Do you know what?
I know Robotnik. I think he probably is a token. But let's not forget Tails. Tails in the running as well.
Talking of token gingers, do you find that? I mean, I don't know how many friendship groups you've got, but do you find you've got like a token ginger in every friendship group you've got?
I don't collect them. I used to. But as you get older, friendship groups whittle and change and adapt and the rest of it. So, no, Dan.
We've got one in our group. We've got the Crow.
We do.
I've got Luke, who's asked a couple of questions so far in my friendship group. And from another friendship group, there is someone else that is ginger. So I think there is a ginger in every friendship group I've got.
I mean, I always find they're amicable souls, always alive at the party. So I'm fully supportive. If you need to have a ginger in your life, get one. Cause
100%.
They're a great asset.
Get yourself a crow like us.
Yeah.
He is the life and soul of any party.
Most definitely.
But Robotnik is not a party fiend. He's just a bad egg. He is an egg man.
Just an arsehole.
He is. Next question is home base better than B&Q?
No.
I agree with that.
B&Q, you can actually get your hands dirty. You can feel like a man. Not that in this day and age you need to. I think this is going down a different rabbit hole, Dan. Do you feel as though there's much of a need for overt masculinity in this day and age?
Nah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, back in the 90s, you're a man, you went to the pub and you like cars and boobies and the rest of it. FHM and the rest of it. These days, I don't really get the sense that I think society's come on more, and I'm not saying that we don't have those gender identities, but I don't feel as though you need to have that affirmation.
Yeah.
Or is that just me? I don't know. Maybe I've grown up. Maybe I've grown up, Dan.
I was watching a Facebook video the other day. You know, you get like the little videos and they give you recommendations.
Yeah.
I watched some women build or refurbish a cupboard.
I've seen those. They're great, aren't they?
It was so.
They do the wall panelling, and you're like, I can't even pick up a freaking screwdriver, let alone do your whole wall panelling. I mean, that's fantastic.
I mean, I remember getting a computer desk for my bedroom when I was in my parents' way back in 2006. And I tried to build this thing, and I had things inside out. It was dreadful. I wasn't really an instructions person at the time, but now I'm sort of older, I'm a bit more wiser, and take my time over things.
It costs money.
But back to the question: this home
B&Q, because yes, I jest, but I like getting your hands dirty, going down the aisles, your planks of wood. B&Q, I just find is a little bit more homewaresy type stuff.
Good for Christmas stuff as well. Saved our Christmas back in 2017. So me and my other half had just moved in together into our little masonette in Southsea, and we needed some Christmas decorations. Tesco was obviously running low, so we're like, it's not really here that much that we want. Went over to B&Q, got loads of lights. We got baubles, tinsel.
How festive!
And it was quite cheap as well. So shout out to B&Q for saving the day.
We are not sponsored by B&Q.
Absolutely not.
Or Homebase.
If you do want to sponsor us though, and you want us to give us some money,
we'll never say no. Or discounts. Christmas, we have last Christmas, in fact, so 21, and 2012, 2011, I think. We bought our decorations from B&Q. They're lifesavers. So don't overlook it when it comes to November, when you need to get some more baubles and a new Christmas tree. 100%, it's all about the B&Q. Random question, but I love it.
Yeah.
Who was that by? Sorry?
That was Rob, so it was one of his 3 questions, but I think he's got some more for us later.
Lovely, looking forward to it.
Talking of the Crows,
yes,
we've got a nice batch of questions from those guys. So shout out to our friend the Crows. First up, we've got Helen. Do you ever have an alcoholic beverage whilst recording the podcast? Well, I already am, Helen, so ching ching.
There you go. Yes, you do, Helen. You do, Dan, don't you? You have a odd beer here and there.
Yeah, not often. So I will have what I consider, or what is called a table beer. So a table beer is only like 3 to 4%, but it's very rare.
Why table?
I don't know why they call it in the craft beer world, but I think because it's just a sessionable beer. It's low ABV. It's just very drinkable. It's not like heavy or anything like that. But I mean, if I'm at home, generally I've got a glass of water and maybe a can of Pepsi. That's usually all I drink.
Keep it healthy.
The beer's very rare. As you know, I'll mash my ways as I start drinking the alcohol. As the beginning of this podcast already tells.
Makes it fun. I don't. I tend not to. Just because it's usually after I put down the boy and I haven't really got a chance to. So, for no other reason. But no, we don't have. Maybe we should.
Yeah, maybe we should do that more often. How long does it take to record a podcast? I mean, we don't really require a lot of editing a lot of the time. We sort of just go straight in.
Yeah, we used to though, Dan.
Yes.
Well, I did the editing, but I mean, for the first 2 years, there was a fair amount because, we weren't used to it. We weren't really in tune with one another, I guess, because you take audio cues, don't you? You know when someone's finished or when they're about to start, and body language. But yeah, I think it probably last, ironically, 2 years over COVID. Haven't needed to. No. I think that's just happenstance things because we've been running for so long now that we kind of know how each other talk and our minds and where we're going. So yeah, not an awful lot. So probably plus 30 minutes, say, on top of an episode.
Yeah.
I'd say because you're top and tail, we catch up beforehand, don't we?
Yeah.
After and before.
I mean, back in when we first started, we used to maybe do like 2 episodes back to back. So we'd do one episode, have a break, and do another. And sometimes that was maybe a couple of hours, hour and 2.5 hours.
Out in the conservatory.
Yeah.
With the Shitehawks.
What do you do on a Sunday?
Oh, good question.
That is a good question. What do I do on a Sunday? I tend to get up in the morning, have my breakfast. I've got on.
Are you an early riser?
Usually get up about 9ish, so a bit of a lay-in.
Okay, not bad.
Put on Sunday brunch, so watch that on Channel 4.
Oh yeah. Do you find it's really a super awkward? This is now really niche for UK listeners specifically. But don't you find it's really a super awkward programme?
Yeah.
They've been doing it for years, but they seem really quite rushed and unpolished. I like it. I like the awkwardness, but they seem very awkward.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. So yeah, if you watch that, they could get some obscure musicians on there as well, like people I've never really heard of, or it'll be like someone that did a song on FIFA, and you're like, oh, I know that song
because of FIFA.
Because of FIFA.
Yeah. And then they cook random crap in between, don't they? It's like, right, I'm just going to talk to you, and then whilst I'm talking to you, I'm going to cook a quiche. Okay, fine, it works, I guess. But how? And then they kind of do part interview, part commentary, don't they? It's like, so Dan, tell me about your new album's coming out. Or hang on a second, I'm just going to beat these eggs and add this cheese. And what are you doing now? I did some cress. Okay, good. So anyway, as we were saying about your album, you're like, what's like, what is going on? But it works, Dan. It works.
It does. Yeah, it's a fascinating thing. So I watched a little bit of that.
Yes.
Depending on what my other half's doing, she's doing a run or she's on a bike or going for a swim, I might sort of hang back, play a bit of Xbox. Don't get a chance to do that a lot in the week. Otherwise, might go to Hideout, get a coffee, get a donut, come down to Old Portsmouth or Southsea, and then go home, have dinner, watch some films, or we might catch up on TV, which we missed in the week. And then I go to bed. Go to bed about 10 o'clock, read a book, and then I'm sort of quite fresh to go for Monday. But that's it really, it's a bit of a relaxed one. What about you, Alex? What's your Sundays generally consist of?
Usually chilled. Walking around Portsmouth, seafront, grab a coffee, take the boy to a park or go to the library, choose new books, watch a film in the afternoon. Yeah, just relax really. Nothing exciting happening. It's a good question.
Next up, she asks, what's the worst night out you've had?
The worst?
I can't think of a really bad night out. I mean, I've had really bad drunken nights out.
Yeah.
When I was at university, I remember one of my friends saying, I'm going to come over with a bottle of red wine, then we're going to go out. And I thought, oh, well, happy days. Well, I've got half
So a bottle of red wine is your pre-drinks?
Oh, this is for pre-drinks.
Jesus.
So, just a bottle of red, okay? I thought he was referring to a bottle of red.
I mean, that's quite strong in itself, and that's quite a...
I mean, I could drink like a fish when I was at university, because obviously, like, you build up that...
Tolerance
to alcohol. So I had about a quarter of a bottle left from the weekend. So my girlfriend at the time had come down from London, I had some wine, I had a little bit left over, so I drank that with my dinner. I had a big dinner, you know, knowing that I was going to go out and we were going to share this bottle of wine.
Line stomach.
He comes over with a red bottle of wine each. So get through this bottle of red. Let's go to the student union. As soon as I got outside, that was it.
Yeah, hitched on.
It was like bam. And I remember what I drank, Alex, but I don't remember the night. Anything could have happened.
Probably did.
I don't think anything bad really happened. I just don't remember it. And I don't like not knowing. So we went to student union. He bought drinks the entire night, so I don't think I spent a penny. I had a pint of cider.
Well, two, right, because he got you bladdered.
He bought me a pint of cider. Then we went over to the Roundabout, which is a pub on a roundabout in Plymouth. He bought me a shot of, I think it must have been absinthe, I don't know, it was green, and it wasn't very nice. And then we went to, can't remember the name of the pub now, we went to a different pub and he bought me a whiskey and coke. I don't think I touched his whiskey and coke. He said, I'm going to the toilet, and I staggered off home to say goodbye to anyone. That was it. That was me done. I woke up at 8 o'clock in the morning to my girlfriend at the time, called me, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm in bed in my clothes, and I went back to sleep for most of the day. So, I mean, not really the worst night out, just a
heavy one.
A very heavy one, yeah.
I think for my 25th, I had some friends. Were you there, Dan?
No.
Were you not? I was in the big house, Cleveland Road.
No,
And we sat at the top. No. Our friendship group was though, so maybe it was just shy before. I had one of my friends down from school, from back home in Croydon. I went out, it was my birthday, and drunk a lot, as you would expect, and went round all the usual haunts. And it ended up that we were in the Reg, which isn't the Reg anymore, the Registry. It's a lovely screen pub, but it's no longer there now. Student halls, residence or some shit. Yeah. And I was pretty bloody anyway. I was swaying on the spot, and it's about 12:30 at night. We've been going for a while now. Pre-drinks at home, and everything. All
we've all been there.
100%. And I said, "Oh yeah, I need some water." I knew I was bad, so I need some water. And got a jug of water. Reluctantly, I got ripped for it, and a glass was thrust in my hand, and I was knocking this back, and I suddenly realised it tasted odd. And I said, "What is this?" And they said, "It's vodka."
Oh no!
And I mean, by then it's already too late. It's already in my stomach. I didn't feel sick, but I was like, I'm screwed. And sure enough, I spent then, I think, the rest of the whole day shivering, throwing up. I'm probably on par with alcohol poisoning. Hugging the toilet, but my wife found me early in the morning, cold, shivering, hugging the toilet bowl on the floor. 3 o'clock, she dragged me back to bed. I couldn't say goodbye to my friends who were staying with us because I was feeling. I feel terrible now thinking about it. It's the worst hangover I've ever had. I don't think I surfed until probably 8:30 when I crawled around to her house, which is about a half-mile walk the following day. The worst hangover ever. So I wouldn't say it's bad because I had a bad experience. Although I have had a couple in Portsmouth. No thanks to some of the inhabitants of a certain estate. But no, alcohol driven for sure.
Yeah. So we've not really bad nights out, just think from both perspectives, the end result's not great. I mean, I've never been sick from alcohol. Like, don't get me wrong, I've come close a couple of times. Yeah,
You're doing it wrong, Dan.
My 21st birthday, fantastic night, brilliant. I got absolutely bladdered. Went home, went to bed, woke up next day, I felt not too bad. Went and played football with some friends. There was quite a few. We used to get enough of us to do 11 aside.
Yeah.
I got stuck out on the right wing this one day, so obviously got to have a bit of pace getting up there. I was a little bit smaller than I am now. I didn't really have a lot of body fat on me. I remember picking up the wing, thinking, "Oh shit, I'm gonna chund him any minute now," and I just hoofed the ball. I nearly put the goal. I nearly put the ball in the net. Yep. I nearly did. I hit the screamer, just went over the crossbar. I don't know how from the angle I was at. And I sat down on the sideline for a little bit, felt fine, went again, and then there was a corner being taken, and my friend at the time, he was taking it, he looked at me, he was like, I was like, fuck, no, don't do this. He whips the ball in, and it's perfect. This ball is perfect. And guess who gets a head on it? With the raging hangover?
You?
Me.
Wow.
I didn't see the ball go into the top bins because I was too busy collapsing on the floor.
Beautiful.
And after said game, we decided to get a KFC. Big mistake.
Bit of greased chicken.
Bit of greased chicken, so obviously all the grease settles on your alcoholic belly. And I spent most of the day feeling absolutely horrendous. And at the time, my girlfriend at the time, she was going to a Christmas party and I was invited. work do. So I turn up. We weren't there for long. I feel really bad for this. We were there for about an hour, and I said, I need to go home. Like, well, we really need to go home. And she took me back to her house, and I crashed until about midnight. I was like, I need to get a taxi home now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was rough for about 2 days. It was the worst hangover I think I've ever had. I think it's because my birthday's quite close to Christmas.
Yes,
and my 21st birthday party was on the 22nd, so 2 days after my birthday. So I felt better by Christmas Eve.
That's all that matters, really.
Yeah. So I was good for Christmas. So 2 stories there. Next question. My phone's just turned itself off. What's the worst thing you've ordered online? I can answer this straight off the bat.
Blob doll.
What was it?
Blob doll?
No.
Oh.
You're close though.
What?
You're very close. So, if anyone hasn't listened to previous episodes where I've mentioned that I was a bridesman for my friend Kelly, for her hen do, I had to order a 5-foot inflatable penis. So now, of course, this has now completely fucked my eBay algorithms, and I get recommended cock straws all the way down to sex dolls and God knows what.
I mean, you'd be ordering them anyway, though, so...
Stop telling our listeners my secrets. So probably the worst thing, but equally, there is a really bad photo of me out there somewhere with her holding this penis between her legs, and look like I'm about to lick it. So,
Tasty.
I had some beers by then, so I don't take
Can't be held accountable.
Don't take my life too seriously.
No.
I just enjoyed the night.
Too right. Okay. Worst thing I've bought on the internet. I've had some howlers. Nothing as exciting as you, Dan. So we were redecorating our lounge a couple of years ago, as you do, and I bought loads of stuff off from China. Now this is spring of 2020. Cast your mind back. What was happening in spring 2020, Dan?
We were just about to go into a pandemic.
We were in a pandemic.
We were, yes.
Yeah. Beginning of the pandemic, and the whole supply chain came to a halt, didn't it?
Jeez.
Especially in China. So I was ordering things for a refit, and the lights weren't being delivered. They were being delayed. They were in bits. That's a lesson, guys and girls. Don't decide to undertake a DIY activity during a global pandemic, because you won't get what you want in time. So not a terribly exciting story, but then that's a life lesson for you there.
Next up we've got Rob, so here's a couple of questions from him.
Oh yeah.
Which Marvel character do you least identify with? Least identify with?
Are we including baddies as well, like all characters?
Yeah, let's open up. Villains as well. It's a bit of a tricky one, that. I'd least identify with Ms. Marvel. Her series starts tomorrow. Just find her a bit of a teeny bopper fangirl. That's not
Apparently
bad.
it's had good reviews though. I don't know whether they've been fluffed. Their palms have been lined with silver to try and get interest, but apparently it's had some good reviews.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to watch it anyway. I mean, comic books wise, I've not really read much of her, but I found her just bloody annoying in the Avengers game, but that was a car crash in itself.
Yeah, that was bad.
Okay, maybe that's a bit harsh. Maybe not Miss Marvel. I mean, we all have our fan moments, right? You always want to meet your heroes. Tough question, Rob.
I'd probably say though, from all the films so far, probably Hela from Ragnarok. I felt forced, didn't really think it was a particularly strong baddie. Or Ghost from Ant-Man 2. Nothing against the actress, I just didn't think she was the right casting. Oddly, the MCU get it right, but they didn't get that one right at all. So I probably those two, I think, for me. And oddly, they're both baddies.
I'm actually kind of struggling with this question. Do you know what? Maybe I'll stick to my guns and just say Ms. Marvel.
Yeah.
So it's more of the game rather than say, without seeing the series I can't comment, but I'm sure we will give our thoughts on that later on.
Yeah, definitely.
Interesting question now. Snog, marry, avoid out of your friendship groups. I mean, if we're talking about our friendship group as a whole as the unacceptables.
Yeah. Snogging and marrying the lot of you. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, that's a great answer.
It's the only answer.
If I'm going to take this seriously, I'd snog Rob Crow. Handsome bastard. Obviously have to marry my missus. And just to make sure there's no awkwardness when we do the podcast, Alex, I just have to avoid you.
It's fair enough. It's fair enough. But my answer still stands.
Just
Snogging and marrying everyone.
What about avoiding? Are you avoiding yourself after all of this?
No, you don't avoid anyone. Not an option.
Okay, that's a good answer.
That is the answer.
After we finish the Crow's questions, we should probably get another beer in.
I agree. You're running.
We'll
low,
have some downtime music.
I could do with some Crispies actually.
Good shout.
Some munchies.
So, final 2 questions before we go to an interlude. Brand of toothpaste you use?
Colgate. Sensitive.
Ooh. Aquafresh.
Really?
I'll tell you why we
Like
use
stripes?
Aquafresh. You can't beat the red, white and blue stripes as it comes out of things, but it's my other half's preferred toothpaste brand.
There you go.
And that's it.
That is it.
It's cheap, it's cheerful, does the job, cleans my teeth, leaves my breath smelling nice. And to be honest, I've become so accustomed to Aquafresh, I just can't use any other toothpaste now.
No.
It tastes weird. Not that I'm eating it, just
Don't do that.
it's just brushing my teeth. Get the taste on your tongue. Final question from Rob. When you are struggling to write a script, how do you dig yourself out of that hole? Now, we don't really script the podcast. I think everything we do is quite natural.
I think it's quite clear from listening to the podcast, Rob, that we don't do any script work.
No.
The only script work is down in his names, which he tries to read off. I mean, I bullet point a paragraph, I chunk it up, but I find that the best way is to talk around topics as opposed to reading off scripts. I used to, at the beginning, if you go all the way back to the weekly roundup, I did do scripts, and it didn't really feel natural.
No.
It wasn't conversational, it was quite stunted. So yeah, if I was, then it'd be difficult. But I think bullet pointing helps kind of make it a flexible conversation. Yeah. Because we're doing it so long now, we kind of have that conversational.
It's more
approach.
Natural now.
Yeah.
I sort of think back to how. I mean, not awkward. It just felt a bit odd.
It was because you're talking to each other, but then to someone who's not there. Hopefully they are.
But it sort of comes with experience now. It just becomes so natural. But I suppose when I'm writing my notes, sometimes I sort of struggle to maybe bullet point something and try and portray that in how I'm talking. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, sometimes I just take myself away from it, because sometimes I'll just do my notes in one whack and go do it in an hour.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I can't sort of articulate what I want in my notes. I leave it, come back to it.
There you go.
But sometimes when I'm doing a film review, I'll try and do it within a day of doing so. So Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, did my notes literally the day after of watching it. So my thoughts were quite fresh and quite clear. So good question. Let's go to some nice interlude music, and then we've got more questions.
Who got questions from? Coming up, we've got Chris.
We got Chris, Gary.
More Callie.
We got Gary. I don't think we've got any beer mats around, but there is a story behind that one.
Oh, right.
Got Zach, more Luke and Rob, and we're going to be talking about Love Island.
Love it.
Heaven forbid. Well, let's go.
See you in a minute.
See you in a minute.
And we're back, and we're fueled up on some, what are these? Tyrrells. Lovely chili, tasting sweet chili. Delightful, actually.
Really nice.
Nice bit of crunch.
Nice bit of heat on the back of the tongue.
Yeah, last bit of warmth. And a refill. So thank you, Dan. Very kind. You got this round in, and the Crispies. So cheek chink.
Cheers.
Thank you very much. Birthday again. And we're going to go straight back into it. This one is with... is it Chris?
It is.
Yeah, tell us.
What do you both think of the Jubilee? Wonderful thing or a waste of time?
That's a really good question. So, if you're in the farthest reach of Kazakhstan, you might not know what we're talking about. And no offence to our listeners, actually, I think we're in that region.
We are. We've got some sort of obscure countries on the list.
So it's not a dig. It's just to say that, you know, if you're out in your yurt in the middle of nowhere, you may not know about it. The Queen is celebrating, or has been celebrating, her Platinum Jubilee, which is how many years was it?
70
years, isn't it? It's a long time. And there's been, you know, celebrations and music. I did watch a bit of it because we were on holiday.
Yeah.
We came back. Craig David outside of the palace. Did you watch any of it? Oh, you would have done, right? Surely.
No, I did. I missed it in the end because I was in Brighton.
It's on iPlayer. Do watch it. The music actually is very good.
Sam Ryder was on there, our Eurovision contestant this year, who I thought was fantastic. Spaceman's a great song, and I recommend people go and listen to it. But Jubilee. Do you know what bugs me about this? Right?
Uh-oh.
You got these arseholes that want to abolish the monarchy in England, but the moment they get a sniff of a couple of days off because of it, they can't wait. And do you know what really annoyed me more?
Tell me.
I wanted scones, Alex. I wanted some scones.
Oh yeah.
Mrs. doesn't like fruit scones. She doesn't like raisins or anything like that. Had to get plain
Travesty.
scones. So I went over to Asda, just fruit scones.
Other shops are available.
Happily would have. Eating fruit scones, so I'm not that fussy, but she doesn't eat them. Fine. So came over from Asda, sorry love, I haven't got any scones. None there. I've got the jam though. Brilliant.
Yeah.
So
Cream and then jam, or jam and then cream?
Jam then cream for me. Because the jam's like a nice, smooths on easier than cream, I think. But then it doesn't matter. Does it
doesn't
really
matter. It goes in
down the same way.
Exactly, I was going to say.
And it's going to come out the same way.
100%. Although the ratios do make a difference. I do cream, more cream, with a dollop of jam on top.
Yeah, good shout.
Just because you get the smoothness, and then you get the hit of the sugar. But as you say, it doesn't really matter.
Clotted cream fan?
100%, yeah. It's always got to be Cornish. So the Rodders, is it called? Rodders? Yeah. But the odd crust on top, which I don't know whether to eat it. Do you eat that? You do, don't you?
I try and make sure it's smeared in enough so that it's not it's not gritty. That's the wrong word.
It's like on a pate. You know, like the weird kind of butter that just solidifies on top.
Yeah.
I don't eat that. Do you eat that?
Nah.
No, it's very odd, isn't it?
Yeah. I find it weird.
Right, so you couldn't get any for...
No, couldn't get any.
The Platty tubes.
So obviously went over to Tesco and they only had cheese scones. I was like, well, I don't want jam and cream on that.
That's not a thing.
Yeah, couldn't get any scones. Ended up getting some crappy donuts in the end, which is quite sad.
Not a hideout job.
Don't think we did get a hideout.
Because they were doing special ones. You see on the socials.
They did do Jubilee
Hideout
donuts.
Coffee, guys and girls. Sorry, it's a favourite of Dan and his missus, and we do frequent from time to time a lovely independent coffee store who do some delicious donuts. Maybe we should get them on the podcast. Talk about their branding, because the branding is quite unique.
There are people that don't even go to Hideout Coffee. They probably live further up the country, but they follow their social media for just the quality of their daily quote.
It's brilliant.
I like their little board in the shop as well. It's got 0800
Yes.
and it will have something else. It was like Platty Jubes, I think, recently. But I digress. So I was obviously quite annoyed that people were out celebrating, even though a lot of
all the scones.
Yeah, these people want to abolish the monarchy, and I was fuming that I couldn't get a simple scone because everyone's having tea parties all over the gaff. I quite like it. I think there's always something nice to celebrate, and fair play. She reluctantly went onto the throne. And she served the country quite well. I mean, unfortunately, the country is run by Parliament and not the Queen anymore.
That's all for show.
Yeah.
For me, I think she has got an interesting role, and she's evolved over the 70 years, and no one else has done 70 years. It's quite an achievement. The things that she's seen and depending on your perspective, she's resided over is phenomenal, it's unrivaled. What I would say is that it brings an awful lot of tourism to the UK.
You go to Buckingham Palace or stand outside it, there are tourists everywhere.
Well, all around there, and Victoria, which is the nearest tube station, train station. It's rammed for the people visiting the area and the site. So, her alone, I think she's brilliant. The rest of the family, I mean, Andrew, Jesus.
There is a song out there called "Andrew is a Sweaty Nonce," and it is a ding-dang delight.
Jesus. The least we say about that, the better. I don't know. I think she deserved it, and I think we should celebrate. You're right, though. There's some hypocrites out there that think she should do one, and yet, as you say, they're more than happy to take 4 days off. I think it's very hypocritical. But no, I'm all for it. All for it.
Next up, we've got Gary. Do cats make better pets than dogs?
I have neither, but I love dogs.
I love both, and if I could have both, I would absolutely, dive right in. And it probably will happen. My other half's been threatening to get a dog for a while, but pet insurance, it's quite cheap. But the minute you had to have some work done, it's quite expensive. So I've got a cat, and I love cats. And I tell you why, they're a little bit more independent than dogs. Just need to feed them, and they can do whatever the fuck they want. And
invariably they do.
They do. I've got quite a cuddly cat, so he loves a lap in the evenings. He sits with us, and I love his company. He sleeps on my chest some nights, which can be a bit of a pain in the arse, but you know what, that's fine.
Suffocating?
Sometimes, yeah. He'll wake me up in the mornings by climbing across my pillow and, chomping at the bit for milk. But, yeah, they're expensive. You take him to the vets. He had a bit of a chubby lip for the last month or so.
Get into those fights, eh?
Yeah, I don't know if he got in a fight or not, I'm not too sure. But anyway, 45 quid trip to the vets, keep an eye on it. And then yesterday we took him back and paid about 75 quid for a steroid injection and a checkup. Yeah, not enough to claim back on the insurance, unfortunately. But yeah, cats for me, but no contest really, I love both.
I love dogs just because they're silly, and the room lights up with excitement and jubilation the moment you return home, which is more than what you get from some humans. So for me, I'm a dog person for sure, but I won't have a dog because I like holidays too much, Dan. So
that's fine.
Selfish.
Well, if you could have a dog, what breed would you get?
Black lab.
Oh, chow. I was going to say, I would love to get a Labrador or a Golden Retriever, just beautiful dogs.
Yeah, they've got lovely temperaments, and they're lovely dogs, and they're very protective, and they're great family dogs. You tend to find a lot of people overfeed, though, black labs because they're quite greedy, so you've got to be quite strict. So you don't tend to find too many of them that are looking quite healthy. But that's more of the human aspect than it is a dog. Black labs all day long.
Next up, we've got Kelly again. We're going to have to be quite diplomatic with this because I know there is quite a divide on this at the moment. Depp versus Heard seems to be a big one right now. Your thoughts? There's no winners here, I'm afraid.
100%.
There's no winners. They've both been, part of this cancel culture that's been going on for a while now. They've both lost jobs. It's a tough one. Whilst it's quite nice to see Depp win, and I did find Amber Heard sort of quite unbelievable at times throughout this trial.
Very disingenuous, she came across.
Yeah. I have no doubt that they're probably as bad as one another. Their relationship was toxic.
Yeah.
And Depp does have questionable friends. One of them being Marilyn Manson, who's equally an absolute arsehole.
Yeah, I've got some thoughts on that guy.
Yeah, I say there's no winners here, I'm afraid. And I have no doubts that, there was probably things that did happen in that relationship. And I'll always go to one thing my dad always taught me growing up. So
he taught you one thing?
Yeah, so there's three sides to every story. Right. So you've got party A, party B, and then you've got the truth. And the truth you'll never know because it's such a grey area.
Thank you.
No one really talks about it.
No.
Or you'll never know the truth. You'd have to be a fly on the wall. So for me, no winners. Great that Depp won, because he said at times Heard was quite disingenuous. She was quite hard to believe, quite fake at times. There was a video I saw actually where they both walk into court, and Heard just walks past the security like doesn't care. Depp walks past, he stops, he says hello, shakes the hand, and off he goes.
To play devil's advocate, do you not think that that's playing to him and the fact that is his trial that is instigating and he wants to get the best out of it?
Yeah, it's true.
But 100%, I mean, she should also be playing the game, but then that might be down to the fact of she thinks she's got nothing to hide or to lose, and she hasn't been properly counselled properly. I don't know. But you're right, he was performing in the nicest possible way of the term for that very public trial.
Do you find it odd that this was aired on TV?
It is for our culture.
Because
British culture, we don't have that, do we?
You get the saying right that you wouldn't air your dirty laundry unless you were clean.
But there's also the laundry. There's also, that's the second pint now. There's also the saying, there's no such thing as bad press. And I didn't really know who Amber Heard was before this.
Unless you watched Aquaman. Absolute dog shit.
Yeah, 100%. But I didn't really know it was even her. I knew she. I knew she was an actress and she was a lead actress in Aquaman, but I didn't know it was Amber Heard. So yeah, I mean, 100%. I think from your perspective, I agree. There's no winners in this. If I'm honest, just to balance view, I think they were both probably as bad as each other. I think it's good that there's been recognised that men can be abused too, but not getting away from the fact of obviously women are probably far more abused and men tend to get away with it. So there's no winners here. I just think that maybe there is some balance of justice for both of them.
Yeah.
Because they both were probably bad as each other. Sad that it had to be very public. I mean, worldwide, Jesus, that's tough. But I mean, that was Depp's choice, and perhaps you could say, well, that's even more conviction to say that he was willing to go that far because he felt wrong done. I don't know. You don't want the motivation. I think you're right. The third aspect, the third party, we just won't know. But I think they're probably, from what we've heard, they're probably as bad as each other.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Gary, a bit more of a light-hearted one.
Oh yeah.
How many beer mats can you flip and catch at once? Now, unfortunately, Gary, we do not have any beer mats in this pub, which is quite tragic.
19, I think.
Was it 19?
I think we got up to 19. We played it quite a lot at uni, and you'd flip them. So you put it on the edge of the table,
and
so half and half,
catch it.
And then you flick your hand up, so back of your hand, and you flip your fingertips, and it'll double flip, and then you catch it in midair. And for every successful catch, you then add a new beer mat on top, and it'll stack up. It's 16 or 19, I want to say. I've got little hands, and I think that's as most I could do. But I can give as much as I can get, Dan.
I genuinely can't remember. So the reason why Gary asked this many years ago, I want to say it was about 2011. It was a really hot summer's day. We went out for someone's birthday. Pub crawl on Albert Road.
Lovely.
And we ended up in a pub. Quite quiet.
Tell you what, Albert Road is lovely for an afternoon drinking session in the sun, isn't it?
It really is. A lot of craft beer places now down there for the likes of me. Yeah, I love it. Good. It's good. You get your face going from one end to the other. You're fucked. But yeah, so I digress. Went to this little pub and we started collecting beer mats, and I was known as Double Digit Stan.
Wow.
I can't remember how many I got up to. It was quite a lot.
Feels like there's a different story there than flipping mats.
Double digits, yeah.
Double digits, Dan.
Just to let you know, I'm not from Southampton. Sorry, Southampton listeners.
I'm not.
No. So double digits. I think I got to something ridiculous like 12. Well, I want to say it was like 12 or 14. It was something around there.
It's good fun.
But I've got quite big hands, so I probably could have done better. But equally, I'd had a few.
It's the speed, though. I think your 2 pints in is the sweet spot, because with most things like pool or darts, you've got to have that steady hand. I think if you're flipping, it's not about how much you can fit in your hand. It's about the speed.
It is.
Because I have the biggest hands, but if you're not quick enough to grab them mid-air,
it's all about reactions.
It's all about reactions.
It's a bit like being a footballer, isn't it? Like if someone whips in the cross, you've got to be the first person to get on the end of that ball to put it in the back of the net.
Yeah.
And sometimes your reactions are shite. That ball ain't going in.
100%.
It's going straight past you, and it's going to go to the defender to kick back out.
There we go.
Next up, we've got Leighton. If you could choose your own name now, what would it be?
What, as in, like, not Alex, it'd be someone else, or do you...
Yeah, I think that is the question.
What would I choose my name to be?
That is a very good question, and I'm sort of struggling because obviously you're giving your name at birth, and people call your name every day. You go to school, go through the register, you make friends, they call you that name. Your family call you that name.
Philip.
Why not?
Phil.
Call you Pip for short.
Pippa.
Pippy. What would I go for? This is actually quite a hard question. Let's go with Peter.
Peter.
Pete. P-E.
P-E.
Yeah, it works. Some of my friends call me D-E, so P-E still works, right?
So, okay. Or P-P-E.
Peter and Philip.
Personal protective equipment.
What would the... Do you remember we used to abbreviate the weekly roundup with Alex and Dan? TW PAP.
It would be. That could work.
Works.
Rolls off the tongue.
It does roll off the tongue. So there you go, Leighton.
Philip and Peter.
Next up, Luke. Very good question, this one.
Oh, yeah.
What computer game should be remastered? Now,
I mean, they're all being done at the minute, though, aren't they?
I went to Unbarred Brewery in Brighton on Saturday. And I bumped into Luke, so we sat down, we spent some time in Brighton and Hove, we had some beers.
Lovely.
Our other halves got to know each other. It was a really good afternoon out in the end of the south coast. Craft beer galore. And he said, I want you to add this question in, so...
I mean, it's obvious, but maybe it's too obvious. GoldenEye.
Yes.
But,
100%.
I mean, there are some... I think, have you seen the Unreal Engine, the latest one, remake? Someone's actually ported into that.
It looks a lot like the more recent Far Cry games.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? And apparently achievements have, or trophies have, again, you've got to take it with a pinch of salt, on the internet have surfaced. So they're saying it officially one has been made by Rare and Nintendo. So it had to be that one, because there's no other game, I think, apart from Final Fantasy, which is probably yours, Dan.
Yeah.
But that's all been done. I think it's worthy. It's got to be GoldenEye. I mean, I've got these 64 upstairs in the roof. I said that before, and I've got the cartridges. Yeah. It probably does still work, but
they were sturdy.
Oh, 100%. They're very sturdy. Blowing it, put it in, put the power on, job done. But it's not the same, is it? Then looking at your ray tracing, 4K. So yeah, 007's for me. Probably an obvious one, but there's no other game I think is worthy.
I mean, I would have said Final Fantasy 7, but they've already done that, and it's going to come out in like parts over God knows how many years.
Oh, right.
I mean, all there to do is just like buff up the graphics.
Yeah, it's all there.
Just do that. But I mean, if you get it on the PC, you get all the mods anyway.
Right. Yeah.
There's always people out there that do those clever things, right? I'm going to go for Ocarina of Time, Zelda.
Someone else has done that in Unreal as well.
They have, and it looks magnificent.
It looks
and do you know what? That's all people need to do. Just get these people to do it for a living.
Do it for the love, and just say, right, we'll pay you more money, or we'll finish it off. You've already started. It looks great. Yeah, it's a good shout, actually.
So that would be my choice. Great storyline as well.
Yes.
Some fantastic bosses in that game. Multiverse Dan again. Mainly for me, this question.
Oh, right.
But I mean, I think we've talked about this before. What is your most memorable paranormal experience on your ghost hunting escapades?
Yes.
I mean, if you listen to, I think it was 2020's Halloween episode, there's some good stuff on there. Now, my most memorable, I mean, I've probably got two. So there was a secret location in Southampton. I think it was like Basildon, and it's like a police college, or it used to be a mental asylum. Oh, right, yeah. So a lot of this building had burnt down.
This is from our last Halloween episode.
This might have come up, I'm not too sure, but I mean, they're good episodes to to go dive into if you're into paranormal.
100%.
It's a police college.
Yeah.
A lot of it had already burnt down, but it's all been done up, so it's nice and posh and everything. So me and my brother are stood in this corridor. These doors behind them are quite heavy. It's the height of summer. There's no breeze. It's a very hot night. It was the height of that heat wave in 2018, actually.
Oh right.
Do you remember that? Like it was just the hottest. Like
yes, it's
2
lovely
months
spring
ever.
and early summer. Yeah.
So start of that. It's a really hot night. Team leader comes along. He picks up the gear. So me and my brother are like, we're calling out, well, this is it. This is your last chance. We're moving on in a minute. Make yourself known to us. And my brother goes, what the fuck? That was his word. So I said, what? What's up? What's up, mate? He said, the doors behind me have literally just moved. They've opened and closed again. I was like, nah, surely not. So I've turned around and like these doors are sort of like quite long windows.
Oh right.
So
Yeah.
you could see out into the main hall sort of quite clearly. And this black figure walks past. But I couldn't tell who it was.
Was it like frosted glass? Was it or clear?
No, you know, like the it's almost like double panes, but it's got like the wire mesh in between it.
Oh right. Yeah.
That sort of like gridded. It looks like maths paper, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So I've gone out into the main hall to have a look around, and one of the other team leaders who runs Southern Ghost Sites, he looks at me and said, "Oh, damn mate, you all right down there?" I said, "Is anyone like down here with us? So, like I've just seen someone walk past." And he said, "Nope, there's no one here, mate. It's just us, and we're like up here on the balcony." I was like, odd. But it would only be later on that night that someone else would see this black figure walking around the building.
No.
So I mean, that's probably as good as it gets for me. I mean, there's always weird things in that building, and I've been 3 times, and I think we're going again.
You always have something happen.
Something always happens in that building. Yeah, it's always odd. I mean, in fact, that building we went originally in 2014 for the first time. So we were in a room. In the room next to us, it was all locked either side. So you got like the hallway. So no one in this room next to us, and of course you can't get in through the other side. So we're calling out, we're getting all weird footsteps above us and all this stuff, and all of a sudden the door rattles. Like it's literally like someone rattling the door, and there's no one there. Like we couldn't debunk it, so it's a weird location to visit.
Have you not been tempted to walk around with like a video camera and record the whole evening?
We usually do. There's usually one guy that turns up. He does all that stuff, and I don't ever sort of really pay attention to what goes on their social media page. So I probably should really see what goes on. But that's probably my most interesting experience.
Spooky stuff.
I think you've talked about one before, haven't you?
Yes. I won't go over it again, but yeah, we had a very interesting experience in an out-of-season hotel, and marbles and kids, and it's horrible. So yeah, that was in the 2019 episode, I want to say. Or was it 2019, I think. Halloween episode. Anyway, go have a listen.
2020. It was the first and only time I think we recorded face to face in the fan.
We did, because we had quite a distance, about an inch and a half between us. You're right. Yeah, 2020. That was a cracking episode.
Very good.
Yeah.
It was the same night we did Conspiracy Theories Volume 2 as well. Mm-hmm. So we tried to cram in a bit that night.
Yeah.
Memorable for the wrong reasons, I guess, because we had that massive table between us.
We did.
Next up, we've got Chris again. He says, "Do you think DC will catch up with Marvel?"
No.
I mean, comic book wise, they're the big two, right? I think they're both as big as each other.
I don't think they're competitors in the comic industry just because they've got so much behind them. In terms of different variants and characters, but for films, there's no way.
No, definitely not.
No way.
DC needs to, I think, at this point, reboot. They need someone behind it. And I think
some stability.
They need their own Kevin Feige, really, because every time we seem to get somewhere with DC, they try to rush it.
Yeah.
And
it shows.
I think when we got, we were building up to Infinity War, they were literally just dropping Justice League with this big event. It was like, you're not putting any story behind it. Why are these people getting together?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you can't cram it all into like each film, but we were getting cutscenes with the MCU back in 2008 with Iron Man, then Hulk, and then Iron Man 2, and then so on. It tells the story. Just,
there's no chance.
DC need that stability, like I say. They need a Kevin Feige. They need someone
proper
with a vision.
writing, and they need time. And unfortunately, I think they're just trying to cash in.
Yeah.
And it is about the money. And at some point, this superhero cash cow will run dry. It has been 15 years, so it's going strong. But I think they've unfortunately been going after the money when actually they should have been going for the long game. And that's what Marvel have been doing. They've done quality standalone films, and long games paid off.
Yeah. Of course, it's becoming sort of quite wide now. You know, it's not quite a linear thing with MCU.
No.
It's phase 1 to 3 was fine, and then after that they seem to have branched off. It's very much like the comics. We're getting the multiverse now, and all these different characters, TV series on top of the films. I mean, would you say it's hard to sort of keep up now with what's going on with the MCU?
This is an interesting thing. So people have said Phase 4 isn't a bad thing, but it's kind of blown it wide open. Because it's going in all different directions. You know, you've got the Eternals, which, I mean, fuck knows where that is and how that is. You then got the characters that we know and love from the earlier phases, you know, Thor and his storyline and his baggage. And then you've got the TV series with Loki, and you've got Cap or Falcon. Spider-Man. It's all been kind of tipped on its head. But I think that kind of, I mean, it all comes together at some point, but it's kind of all blown it open. And I don't know if that's a good thing for me, because I quite like that it's all connected, because you can go, oh, what does that then mean for this film?
Yeah.
But now you're like, well, does the next film actually have any relation to anything that's happened before and what's coming? Because it could be a new character or an old character in a new world.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing. It just makes it, in phases 1 to 3, you kind of knew where it was going. It was all coming to a head.
Yeah, I mean, phase 4 has been quite interesting in the sense that, I mean, we are getting some of the older characters. Like, we've seen Clint Barton in Hawkeye, but now we're getting Kate Bishop. I mean, it's great.
New generation.
But you don't really know where it's going. We've always had as a guess, we might get Young Avengers, or we might get the Dark Avengers. You don't really know where it's going to go. I mean, we'll probably get Secret Wars at some point.
Yeah, for about 5 years' time, maybe.
That'll be the next big event, I think. But you just don't know. I mean, that's a question has now branched off into us digressing about the MCU in total. But
no way DC can catch up. They screwed the pooch. They've already lost probably 7 years, 8 years. So no way.
We've got 3 more questions, and that wraps up for this year's AMA.
Oh wow.
Next one's from Rob and Luke.
Oh yeah.
Love Island based. This is going to be quite fun. I mean, considering that,
knowing that we both love Love Island, apparently. So this is
definitely
totally our wheelhouse.
I mean, I think this actually appears in What Grinds Our Gears 2021's episode. Great episode.
Jesus.
Quite funny, actually.
Quite good one.
Right, so let's go on to Rob's first.
Yes.
What film? This is a great question, to be fair. What film would you like to see Love Island fuse with? For me, it's it's Love Island versus.
Oh, he's got to compose himself.
It's Love Island versus Predator. I mean, I can just imagine Rob running around, just
trying to get his end away whilst dodging a sadistic, murderous alien. I
think is he the Predator? Like, is he going around killing these people off?
Yeah, why not?
I mean,
or is he dodging the Predator and then the last man standing?
Well, I'll tell you what I'd like to fuse Love Island with. Jurassic Park.
Good shout.
Shove them all on Isle of Nublar.
Say that.
Shove them all on Isle of Nublar.
They go there on a romantic weekend away. They get ferried out, shipped out. They think they're going to be on TV and they'll win the £50,000, whatever it is, and all their deals. And then
we just fuck the power on the island.
Yeah, and then no.
Raptors everywhere. Rexy. Bit of Dilophosaurus action, spitting venom at the host.
Which actually, the Dilophosaurus never actually spat poison.
Yes, I never had the
frills. No.
frills either. I think we talked about this in the making of Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
It
was embellished, but it still makes for great cinema.
Yeah. So
yeah, and then we released the raptors and the dinosaurs, and only two or three people make it off, and they're not couples. That'd be great.
Yeah. Or do we just set out a load of Indoraptors? I mean, are we open up to Jurassic World as well?
I can't wait for that though.
Yeah, Dominion looks
mixed
great.
reviews, but I think I think you'll round it off nicely.
Definitely.
Yeah, good shout.
Who's most likely to appear on Love Island, and why is it Dan? Well, I think I'm probably going to be joining Rob, dressed as Predator, chasing down the contestants with various alien weapons and possibly popping them off.
I agree.
But that's pretty much it. That's why I'd appear on Love Island, or potentially just to sink the island. Because to be honest, get in the fucking sea.
Get in the fucking sea.
Let's say it appears in What Grinds Our Gears.
Yeah.
Last year's episode, great episode to dive into, and I think it was one of my first picks. Why would you appear on Love Island?
Would I?
Why would you appear on Love Island?
I wouldn't. I think it's abhorrent. I think I've only probably seen 10 minutes of an episode. That's because I dropped in to say hello to my wife. From time to time, you do have to do that to keep up appearances. And she loves Love Island, and they're arguing about, oh, you kiss so and so, or you don't. It's odd. It's odd. I
mean, okay, if you want me to answer this question seriously, Luke, I'm going to go on a limb here. If I was single and I was put into Love Island...
It might be after this.
I would be the old guy, repping the dad bod, just fighting the good fight for all us chubsters. And that's it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
the real
win.
man.
I wouldn't be winning anything because everyone's there for
You'd be winning the hearts and minds of the nation, though, Dan.
You reckon?
Yeah, 100%. You'd be the underdog. I think you'd end up being the runner-up, but people would love your character and your attitude to challenging the norms. What has now been, the pristine, highly plucked. That's plucked.
Yeah.
Highly plucked male characters that tend to be on these things.
Oh, why didn't you give me a little smoochie last night? Sorry, love. I was too busy watching 1993's classic Jurassic Park. So.
Or 1990. Or 94 Speed.
Yeah.
Speed's 94, isn't it? I want to say.
Good shout.
Yeah, like go to bed. I'm busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm watching dinosaurs.
No smoochies for you tonight.
And the final question again comes from Luke. What do you think has caused the recent surge in popularity of craft beer over the last few years?
Boredom.
That is probably a good shout. I did find I drank more in the pandemic. So I
meant from a different angle, but that's interesting.
Yeah. My entry into craft beer was back in 2017. So it was word of mouth. So I was working with my colleague Keir. I used to work for a big supermarket giant. And one evening he said, you need to try Brewdog's Punk IPA. Don't drink Brewdog anymore, questionable owner. But anyway, so I remember trying this Punk IPA and my taste buds were torn to shreds. I don't understand what this is. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
So I sort of started to branch out to different things. So I think my next one was Piston Head. So I quite enjoyed that.
Oh, right,
a bit more subtle, a bit more fruitier. But my real proper introduction was Staggeringly Good. So again, word of mouth. Mm-hmm. Heard good things about it, but I never really went until my friend had a party. So I went there. Tried a beer called Reptile Dysfunction, which was like mango, habanero, something IPA, 6.8%. Beautiful beer, still sell it now. One of their staples. I thought, oh, so this is what craft beer is like. So from there, of course, you start to branch out, so you get collaborations. Oh, they've done one with Bombard Brewery, for example. I'm going to go try those guys out. But I think you're probably right in the fact when you say boredom. So pandemic hits.
I was talking more generally. I mean, if you look at the high street pub, I mean, if you glance over now, you've got in this pub, we aren't sponsored by any of these guys, so you can have your own Corona, Guinness, ignore Necco for a second, Foster's, Amstel, Peroni. That's probably most pubs here in the UK.
Yeah.
You may have, a Kronenberg or Stella. It's odd that Stella's not up there, actually.
Nice pub though.
Here?
I don't. Yeah, I
it's
don't know.
nice.
I couldn't imagine Stella being on tap. I mean, that's not me being a beer snob. It's just a nice pub. It's not the sort of place you expect to see a Stella on a tap.
But nonetheless, you've probably got about a dozen different lagers or beers that are on tap, and not to mention maybe John Smith's or something stout. Yeah, there's on the pumps. And I think probably the last 15 years have been just those.
Yeah.
When I mean boredom, I mean that probably the punters want something different.
Yeah, totally.
Because the flavours, they're all muchness.
I mean, Foster's is like drinking gnat's piss now anyway, same with Budweiser.
It is now. Now we've got the different flavours from 100%. Before it wasn't, but then you didn't know any better. But I think now, because you have that variation, I love Pogo.
Yeah,
Pogo beer. It's
really
light.
nice.
It's a low 4%. It's a table lager, as you call it, or table beer. It's nothing special, but it's flavoursome. It's very fruity. It's light, and you can drink loads, and you can just chill with it. Whereas I find that if you've got a tin of Foster's or Carling or whatever, it's a bit of a slog.
Yeah, I think people used to drink as well, just to get shit faced. I used to go to the pub after the football.
Yeah.
Meet up with my mates, and you'd neck 4 pints of Foster's, and that was it really.
Whereas now you drink to enjoy it, and then the end result might be that you're pissed, but actually you enjoy the flavours, and it's like going out for dinner, right? You have a different course and you have different flavours. Beers, the craft beers, you have different beers, and you enjoy and you savour it. You don't just get through it, as you say, to the end result, which is what I think you're spot on, Dan. The drunk is the almost a bonus. It's the journey that you go on, Dan.
It is. And I'll tell you what, I'll talk about my journey on Saturday. So I went to Brighton.
Your little journey.
Yeah, my little journey. I went to Brighton. So me and my other half, she did a park run. I think she did Brighton and Hove. And then we went into Brighton itself, got pancakes. Lovely. Line stomach, big heavy breakfast.
Was you having it?
I had bacon and scrambled eggs for my pancakes.
you like the old savoury,
Well, it's a bit unusual. Felt a bit crap afterwards.
Did you?
Yeah, I should have just started with something like fruity, whereas the mixture of sweet and salty was a bit too much. But lessons
our
learned.
American listeners no doubt like it too.
Yeah, no,
the bacon
absolutely.
and
Fair play. Bacon and scrambled eggs. Yeah. So anyway, we went shopping and ended up going to Unbarred Brewery. Fantastic brewery. If you're in Brighton, go and visit. And walked in. We must have been about 2:00. So I started off with 2/3 of a beer called Knickerbocker.
Okay.
Comes out of the tap. It's a nice dark red. You smell it. It smells like Knickerbocker glory.
2/3.
2/3
of a pint.
Yep.
Okay. Why not even a half or just a full? What's the rationale?
I mean, if you go to a craft beer brewery, they do 1/3, 2/3, or a pint.
Really?
Yeah. There's no in the middle ground. It's really unusual.
And is that because of the flavour and the best kind of accompaniment in terms of volume, or is it for a particular reason?
I think so. And apparently, depending on the shape of the glass, it sort of enhances the smells and the flavours. I don't know how true that is.
I probably agree. Do you know? I was thinking about this the other day, actually. Bit of a side step here, segue. Do you have your favourite mug that you have tea in?
I've got 2.
Most people do, because the tea tastes premium in those mugs, and the others are just normal. And I think it's because the mug does give it the flavour. And I probably agree, although I'm not quite sure it's to the same extent. But yeah, the glass probably does give the experience.
It does. I mean, when I went to Unbarred, they had like the round glass on the stem.
Oh yes.
Nice glasses. So yeah, I enjoyed that. Then I moved on to a couple of other beers. Met up with Luke, who asked the question, and we went to another brewery called Brazen, so it's spelled BRZN. Again, a really nice experience out in the garden, but this time I had a pint.
Okay.
Very beautiful. So yeah, nice little journey, and then we ended up in Hove for fish and chips.
No better way to finish the day.
No, definitely not. Then the train home, and I slept for about 8 hours. Solid. It was beautiful.
Magic.
Nothing too mad. You go out to enjoy it. I wasn't there to get shit faced.
No.
I went home a bit merry. And I might have ended up going home with some of Luke's beers as well. So he works for 360 Brewing and gave me some cans.
Very
I'm
nice.
looking forward to diving into those and reviewing them.
Oh, good.
Beautiful.
But yeah, I think for me, different kind of boredom, though, not literal boredom, but just the need to have variety, I think. Yeah.
I definitely think the pandemic helped, as I say.
Yeah.
People got bored, and it was just like a way to. It's just a way out. Like, not a way out. That sounds really morbid,
dark.
doesn't it?
But no, a way to kind of enjoy yourself when actually we were locked inside homes and we couldn't do much. You've got to have some enjoyment, some unwinding, some relaxing. So no, 100% can see that too.
Talking of breweries, we should probably try and reach out to Stag Really Good and see if they want to come on to this.
You've been teasing this for years, literal years, Dan. I mean, just suck it up and...
I need to pluck up the courage and just get them on.
Why not?
Let's do it.
Give them a call.
I will.
You won't.
I mean, I won't. I'll drop them an email.
You should do. Contact them. Get them on. That's response to Kelly's question earlier on.
Yeah, so
about an hour ago.
We've got 2 people we need to get hold of now. So I'll tell you what. I'll do Stag Really Good. You do Hideout.
Fine. And then we're throwing there at some point. We should also do Game Over.
Yes, computer games.
Because I think there's a story there to be told.
Still trying to get Strong Island recordings on.
Come on, Brad.
Come on, Brad. There is an email waiting for you, son.
Go read it.
I want to talk to you about Strong Island and the music industry in general.
Yes, please.
I'm intrigued because there is a lot to dive into with the music industry. You've got illegal downloading and how does that impact him and
streaming as well. The legitimate.
Spotify. Yeah. I'm sure there's some big topics there. But yeah, Brad, get in touch. Love to hear from you. That wraps up, though, Alex. That is this year's AMA 4th birthday beers.
It's lovely.
In a pub with a bit of background noise, ambience.
I loved it.
It's been good.
It's been beautiful.
It really has.
Let's do it again.
So what we got up next? What are we doing? We need to review Moon Knight.
We do. We should do that. We're probably going to have Jurassic World.
Dominion, yeah.
We should plan to go to the cinema and do that.
Been teasing about doing cancel culture for a while. Obviously, we talked about it briefly tonight.
Yeah,
could be a good one to dive into. I mean, obviously, we want to hear from you if there's anything you want us to cover.
Please.
I mean, we've got a whole list to go through, and the list keeps getting bigger.
I love it.
I mean, lots of MCU-related stuff. Maybe I'll just put the. I've got a list of guests that I want as well.
Could do votes on socials and see what people want to do.
Yeah, let's do it. Favourite cartoons Volume 2. I'm going for this right now. Favourite cartoons Volume 2 could be a fun one to visit.
I love that one.
Films that killed their franchises. Guys, if there's anything here that you think we should cover, just let us know.
Get in touch.
And if you want to get in touch with us, we are on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at OnTheTopicPod. And of course, if you want to email us, we're on onthetopicpodcast@gmail.com. And if you follow any of those socials, there is a link to our platform Anchor, where you can leave us a voice message like some of our previous listeners and get involved and be a part of the show. And Alex, we've got WordPress.
We do, our website, yes. So On Topic Podcast, all lowercase, all one word, .wordpress.com. Go on there, have a look at Ugly Mugs. We've got our affiliate thread websites run by Joey from Morbid and Mundane. Got some lovely t-shirts, go give him some love. Lovely beanies as well, we talked about. Not really seasonal, but they're lovely clothes to go give him a butcher's.
He might even give you a jute bag and some stickers.
There you go, he throws in some goodies, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And we've got all of our back catalogue, all the way back from the weekly roundup. So if you don't have a particular preference of podcast player, it's a mouthful, then you can stream all of them from there as well. So go sign up to our newsletter, subscribe, and have a look.
Yes, and spread the word. So if you enjoy what we do, tell your friends.
Subscribe, give us a review, as many stars as you like, and share the love.
That's if they don't mind us swearing.
We put the explicit on there, right?
Yeah.
I label it.
What podcast doesn't swear these days?
Yeah, all the good ones.
Unless you're polished like this week in Marvel.
Indeed.
But that wraps up. I've got a half a pint of neck oil to finish. I've been Dan.
I've just got over a third left, and I probably need some more nibbles. I'm Alex.
And we'll see you next time.